Welcome back, guys! Today we are going to go over the top 7 tips I wish I knew when I first started Pokemon Unite that would help me out tremendously today. So I hope this video finds you well, guys, because I'm gonna go over the top 7 tips that will help you to get to that masterclass from the beginners all the way to the bottom. It's rough out there, I know. So guys, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, so the first tip that I highly recommend is that you actually learn 3 different main roles for solo queuing up. And I think that is super important to know because what you can expect, let's say, what happened, let's put it this way. When the game launched, Zera Aura was brand new and it's freaking OP, especially for jungling, right? So what happened is everybody tried to queue up for the Zera Aura and then they were forced, 4 other people were forced to pick something else and they all had no idea what to play and neither had items for it. So it was a huge mess, and if you were in the middle of that mess, you were screwed. So that's one, right? And then not only that, guys, but so many times they pick there are so many times there are 4 speedsters, dude, okay? So what I would recommend is to learn 3 entirely different roles like defender, speedster, attacker, or all-rounder. All-rounders are always good, by the way. They fit into every team. But I also recommend, if you don't see a Snorlax, go for Snorlax. Snorlax is easy to play and it's absolutely epic, and every single team needs a Snorlax. You just have so much control. So Snorlax should be one of your picks out of the 3. And then you go ahead and pick the other 2 that you would prefer. I highly recommend to do that. Now the tip number 2, guys, is that I would recommend is you actually max out 3 items all the way as you can to 30, at least, if you can do that, for the Pokemon and the roles that you have picked. So what would be ideal if you pick physical or you pick SP, special attacks, right? And because obviously you can share those items within those 3 roles that you have picked. So if you have picked special attacks, then Eldegoss would go very well with, you know, another special attacker. And if you pick physical, then Snorlax would go well with, let's say, Talonflame, even though the items don't really like translate like that with the 2, because you use different items on, obviously, on Snorlax than you use Talonflame, but you might use Score Shield on both. So that would be perfect, actually. And Score Shield is actually OP on both of those Pokemon, so you might actually use that on all of them. Well, you could put a Score Shield on almost anything, so Score Shield is probably one of the items you actually want to max out. Now, the other thing that I would highly recommend, guys, also, as you guys queuing up, as the third things that you must do is call out your role and your lanes multiple times, especially if you're doing jungle. Yell and make sure you are first. If you're not first calling a jungle, you need to switch. That's how it's supposed to go, guys. So many times I call jungle and 2 other people freaking call jungle and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then they all went to freaking jungle. 3 people, dude. I was first to call it and 3 people goes to jungle. I couldn't believe it, so that was obviously a loss. At veteran, at that point that was a veteran class and I was so pissed. So of course I reported them idling because that was super annoying, and you guys should do the same. Block and report the players who are screwing around like that. Okay, so the next, what you need to know, guys, is you need to know your spawn. So know your spawn times and place. So as the game starts out and when you run, let's say you go in the top lane, you're running up, when you run up, there's a neutral spawn, a fish in the middle. So you need to catch that first before you catch any of your ones that you could catch. And then on the bottom, there's an Audino at top that you need to catch first before you catch any of the other ones. And don't let the opponent steal from you. Now you also need to know when the bees spawn, and then you also need to know when the Dreadnought spawns and when the Zapdos. Zapdos is the easiest one, of course, because it's the most notorious. But you need to know all those spawns. And speaking of Dreadnought, guys, if you pick, let's say, Snorlax or some role that fits to the top lane, I recommend that you go top lane most of the time, so you can actually cycle down for that Dreadnought. Because most of your teammates, if you're top, they are top and you're bottom, they're not gonna come down, unfortunately. Believe it or not, they would not come for that Dreadnought. So you need to go for that Dreadnought and you need to signal for it a lot. What you need to do is push the negative button, the minus button, and then use your right dongle, pull all the way down to that Dreadnought, click A, and it will signal, let's kill that Dreadnought. So then, and do them multiple times because your teammate's not gonna come. Once you go, then also a top button, the arrow up button, and then click on that flag, you need help here, and hopefully they will come. If they don't, speaking of that, you would need to actually practice, which is another tip that I wanted to recommend, guys. You need to go into practice mode or unranked match and just literally practice how much damage with the Pokemon that you picked from the 3 main roles would do to a Dreadnought, would do to a Zapdos, and even a Rotom, so you know when to steal. And the same you can practice with the Audino, because you might want to hide in a bush and just steal that Audino right at the end you jump on, for example with Snorlax, you know what I mean? So you can practice all of those in the practice mode of the game, and I highly recommend it, because more than likely, guys, your teammates, when you go solo queue, especially in the lower levels, all the way till even Masterclass it happens, not gonna come down to help you on that Dreadnought, and the opponent team will get the Dreadnought 3 times, and they will be so OP that you have no chance taking that Zapdos. Unless, last chance again, if you have practiced how much you need and how to actually steal that Zapdos, you hide in the bushes and you just hit it at last second. It's really easy to do it with Talonflame, actually. I do that almost every single time, 9 out of 10 times. But yeah, so you need to practice all of those things, because those will either win or lose your matches. And that's the only thing you could actually do that's not dependent on your teammates, if you practice those things and able to handle that, you know what I mean? And then last but not least, I should have brought this up sooner, is that don't worry about scoring and chasing the opponent's Pokemon, the opponent's players I should say, until the last 2 minutes. What you should really do, guys, is your number 1 goal as the game starts is that you focus on leveling up and let the opponent make the mistake. Once they make the mistake, signal for your jungler, hopefully it's a good one, and when they overextend it, they're gonna come up and they yank it while you push as well. So let them overextend, let them come to you, and then once you destroyed them, then you go and score. That's the only time you need to push that score is that time. You don't need to overextend yourself, because if their jungler is good, they're gonna come up and do the same thing to you. So number 1 goal is try to out-level the opponents and steal their mobs, so you can go down and win that Dreadnought fight. That should be your number 1 goal of the early game. And then the last 2 minutes, try to score that 50. You don't even need Zapdos by the end of the game, guys, just so you know. Unless you need it, obviously, if you're losing bad. But if you don't, just try to control that area with your teammates. And hope to God that you don't get an idiot who takes out or try to take out the Zapdos by himself, or lower it is enough that the opponent team just comes in, swipes it, and takes it from you. We were leading by 200 points, guys, and we had 30 seconds left, and this idiot teammate just decided to actually take on it, and another one started helping him, so it was all the way down to a quarter of a hat. So the opposing teammate, all 5 of them just showed up and absolutely stole it, and they won the game with literally 5 seconds to spare. I was so freaking pissed. Anyways, hope you not do that, and I hope you guys that this actually helped you out. Make sure to come back for more content. I post every single day a new video, besides on the weekends, but I think I'm gonna pick it up on the weekends too. And I stream every weekday from 12:07 p.m. Eastern time all the way till 6-7 p.m. So about 7-8 hour streams. Hope you come by and hope you enjoyed this video.